After Okehazama, everything accelerates. Nobunaga doesn't celebrate, doesn't rest. He moves, province by province. He expands, but his goal isn't conquest, it's transformation. Remember those 500 arquebuses? The ones he ordered at 15. Now, he deploys them. Most samurai still dismiss firearms. Loud, slow, inaccurate. Nobunaga doesn't care about samurai opinions. He cares about winning. At the siege of Meraki, 1554, he uses something new. Rotating volleys. One line fires, reloads while the second line fires, then the third. Continuous. Devastating. 21 years before he'll perfect it at Nagashino, he's already revolutionizing warfare. At age 20. But Nobunaga understands something else. Wars aren't won with soldiers alone. They're won with resources. So he does something radical. RAKUICHI RAKUZA. Free markets. Open guilds. For centuries, merchant guilds controlled all trade. Monopolies. Tolls. Restrictions. Nobunaga abolishes them. Anyone can trade. Anywhere. Anytime. He builds roads, bridges, infrastructure, expands trade routes. The economy explodes, and with wealth comes power. 1558. A peasant arrives at Nobunaga's gates. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, born to nothing. No name, no family, no samurai blood. In traditional Japan, this man can never rise. Nobunaga doesn't care about tradition. Hideyoshi is clever, loyal, capable, so Nobunaga promotes him. From Ashigaru, the lowest rank, to officer, then general. Merit, not birth. Another revolution. The other daimyo are horrified. A peasant commanding samurai. Unthinkable. But Hideyoshi wins battles, and for Nobunaga, that's all that matters. 1567. Nobunaga conquers Mino province, and adopts a new seal. Tenka Fubu. 4 characters. All the world, by force of arms, not regional dominance. National unification. Total conquest. It's not a goal, it's a declaration. Nobunaga isn't fighting for power, he's fighting to remake Japan. One province at a time, one tradition destroyed at a time, one enemy at a time, and nothing will stop him. 1562. Nobunaga makes his smartest decision. An alliance with Tokugawa Ieyasu. Tokugawa controls Mikawa province, east of Owari. He's methodical, patient, cautious, everything Nobunaga is not. The alliance forms, and it will last until Nobunaga's death. 20 years, unbreakable. Together, they become unstoppable. 1568. Nobunaga marches on Kyoto, the capital, the seat of the emperor. For 15 years, it's been chaos. Warlords fighting for control, the emperor powerless. Nobunaga enters the city, not as a conqueror, as a protector. He restores order, rebuilds the imperial palace, installs a new shogun, Ashikaga Yoshiaki. The shogun is grateful, for now. But Nobunaga isn't doing this for gratitude. He's doing it for legitimacy. With the emperor's blessing, with a shogun who owes him everything, Nobunaga can claim he's not a rebel, he's a savior. But unification has a price. Enemies multiply. The Asakura clan in Echizen, the Asakura clan in Omi, both powerful, both threatened, both determined to stop him. 1570. The siege of Kanagasaki. Nobunaga is trapped, surrounded, outnumbered. He orders a retreat, but someone has to hold the rear. Someone has to sacrifice themselves. Hideyoshi volunteers. The peasant turned general. He holds the line, long enough for Nobunaga to escape, and then, somehow, he escapes too. Nobunaga doesn't forget. Loyalty like that is rewarded. August 30th, 1570. The Battle of Onagawa. Nobunaga and Tokugawa face the combined forces of Asakura and Azai, 30,000 warriors on each side. The fighting is brutal, hand to hand, no quarter given. The river runs red. But Nobunaga's tactics prevail. His arquebuses shatter the enemy lines. His cavalry strikes at the perfect moment. Victory. But the cost, over 10,000 dead. This is what unification means. Blood. 1573. The shogun, Ashikaga Yoshiaki. the man Nobunaga installed. He betrays him, forms a coalition, calls it the Nobunaga Encirclement. Every enemy Nobunaga has ever made, united against him, the most powerful warlords in Japan, all working together to destroy him. It should work. It should be the end. But Nobunaga, he doesn't panic. He moves faster than anyone expects, attacks each enemy before they can coordinate, picks them off, one by one, and in 1573, he marches on Kyoto again, deposes the shogun. The Ashikaga shogunate, 235 years old, ends by Nobunaga's hand. September 30th, 1571. Before the shogun's betrayal, Nobunaga does something unforgivable. Mount Hiei, a sacred mountain, home to Enryakuji Temple, founded in 788, almost 800 years old. The monks there have power, political power, military power. They oppose Nobunaga, so he sends 30,000 soldiers, with one order: burn everything. They start with Sakamoto, the town at the base, drive the people up the mountain, into the temples. Then they follow, killing everyone: monks, servants, women, children, no mercy, no exceptions. The temples burn. 500 buildings turn to ash. Kyoto, 30 kilometers away, sees the sky turn red. For 3 days, historians estimate between 1,500 and 4,000 dead. A European missionary compared it to burning the entire Vatican. This is the moment when Nobunaga crosses the line from revolutionary to something darker. 1574, the Iko-iki, Buddhist peasant uprisings. They control several fortresses at Nagashima. Nobunaga attacks. Twice he fails. The second time, he barely escapes with his life. His brother is killed. The third time, he doesn't take chances. He builds a wooden wall, surrounding the fortresses completely, trapping everyone inside. 20,000 people. Then he sets it on fire. Strong winds fan the flames. The fortresses become furnaces. No escape. They burn alive. All of them. 20,000 lives, gone in flames. After Nagashima, Nobunaga adopts a new title, Dairokuten Mao, the demon king of the sixth heaven. In Buddhist cosmology, this demon tries to stop enlightenment. He tempts, corrupts, destroys, and Nobunaga claims this as his identity. The Portuguese Jesuits are horrified. They write that he mocks all gods. Buddha, Kami, Christ. To him, they're all meaningless. There is no creator, no afterlife, no judgment, only power, and those who wield it. 1575, Nobunaga controls 15 provinces, almost a quarter of Japan. His enemies are scattered, defeated, terrified, and now he faces his greatest test, the Takeda clan, led by Takeda Katsuyori, son of the legendary Takeda Shingen. The Takeda cavalry is considered invincible. They've crushed every army they've faced, including Tokugawa's forces. Now they march on Nobunaga, 15,000 strong. This is the moment that will define everything. Will tradition prevail, or will innovation change war forever? Stay with me, because what happens next will revolutionize warfare, not just in Japan, but across the world, and in the second half, we'll witness the transformation complete, from fool to king to demon, and finally, to betrayal. Because the man who burned 20,000 people alive, the man who destroyed temples, the man who called himself a demon, he's about to learn that power has a price, and that price is trust. May 21st, 1575, the Battle of Nagashino. Nobunaga and Tokugawa combine forces, 38,000 troops against 15,000 Takeda cavalry. The numbers favor Nobunaga, but the Takeda are legendary. Their cavalry charges, unstoppable. They've broken every enemy they've faced. Nobunaga knows this, so he prepares something unprecedented. 3 days before battle, Nobunaga's troops build wooden palisades, waist-high barriers, stretching across the battlefield. Behind them, he positions his arquebusiers, between 1,000 and 3,000 firearms. The exact number is debated, but what's certain is the strategy. Rotating volleys, 3 lines of gunners. The first line fires, steps back to reload. The second line fires, steps back. The third line fires. By the time the third line finishes, the first line is ready again. Continuous fire, no gaps, no stopping. The Takeda charge, 10,000 cavalry, thundering across the field, unstoppable, until they hit the palisades. The barriers slow them, just enough, and then the guns fire, continuous, relentless, devastating. Horses scream, warriors fall, the charge breaks. They try again, and again, and again. 8 charges, each one destroyed by gunfire. By the end, 10,000 Takeda warriors are dead, 54 of their generals, 8 of the famous 24 generals. The invincible cavalry, shattered. Nagashino changes everything, not just in Japan, across the world. The age of the cavalry, the samurai warrior on horseback, it ends here, replaced by disciplined infantry, by firearms, by science. Tradition meets innovation, and innovation wins. But there's something else. Nobunaga didn't just win through better tactics, he won through logistics. Modern research shows the Takeda also had firearms, about 1,500, but Nobunaga controlled Sakai, Japan's largest trading port. He had access to unlimited gunpowder, 200 to 300 rounds per gun. The Takeda were melting down copper coins for ammunition. Nobunaga understood, wars aren't won on battlefields alone. They're won in trade routes, in economies, in infrastructure. Victory goes to the one who prepares. 1576. Nobunaga begins construction. Azuchi Castle. It will take 3 years to complete, and when it's finished, it will be unlike anything Japan has ever seen. 7 stories tall. The keep covered in gold leaf, painted by Kano Eitoku, the greatest artist of the age. Inside, innovation everywhere. Stone foundations, never done before in Japan. European architecture, integrated with Japanese design. It's a statement, not just of power, but of vision. This is the capital of a new Japan, a Japan that looks forward, not back. But here's the paradox. The same man building this castle, the man who burned 20,000 people alive, is also the patron of the tea ceremony. Wabi-sabi, the aesthetic of simplicity, imperfection, transience. In 1579, he makes Sen no Rikyu his tea master. Rikyu is a master of refinement, of subtlety, of restraint, everything Nobunaga is not. Yet Nobunaga appreciates him, creates a system where tea utensils, chaki, are worth more than provinces. A single tea bowl can be a greater reward than land. How do we reconcile this? The Demon King, appreciating beauty. Perhaps that's the point. Nobunaga understands that power requires balance, terror and culture, violence and refinement. 1576. Nobunaga allows the first Christian church in Kyoto. The Jesuits are grateful. They call him enlightened. But Nobunaga isn't a believer. Louis Frois writes that Nobunaga denies any creator, any afterlife. He's essentially an atheist. So why support Christianity? Strategy. Christians undermine Buddhist political power. They provide access to European weapons, to trade, to technology, and they serve as intermediaries with foreign powers. Everything is calculated, even faith. 1582. Nobunaga controls 30 provinces, half of Japan. In 31 years, he's gone from 1 province to 30, a 3,000% expansion. The imperial court recognizes his power. They offer him a choice: shogun, regent, or grand minister, the 3 highest positions in the realm. Nobunaga doesn't answer, because titles don't matter to him. He doesn't want to be shogun. He wants to be above shogun, something new, something unprecedented. The man who united Japan, not through tradition, but through force of will. March, 1582. The Takeda clan falls. Nobunaga's last major rival, destroyed. Japan is within his grasp. Just a few more provinces, a few more months, and unification will be complete. He's 47 years old, at the peak of his power, unstoppable, inevitable, or so it seems. Akechi Mitsuhide, one of Nobunaga's most trusted generals. Intelligent, cultured, refined, a master of administration and tactics, he served Nobunaga for over 10 years, led critical campaigns, been rewarded with provinces, by all accounts, loyal. But something is breaking. Nobunaga has a temper. He rewards loyalty generously, but failures he punishes brutally, even small ones. Once, Nobunaga held a banquet, important guests, a diplomatic moment. Mitsuhide was in charge of preparations. The fish served wasn't fresh. Nobunaga beat him in front of everyone. Humiliation, public, absolute. Another time, Mitsuhide's territory was reassigned. Provinces he'd governed for years, taken away, given to someone else. No explanation, just orders. Mitsuhide accepts it. What choice does he have? But inside, something festers. June 20th, 1582. Mitsuhide is ordered to lead 13,000 troops. Destination, unknown to his men. They assume it's a campaign in the west. But somewhere along the march, Mitsuhide makes a decision. Why? Over 50 theories exist. Some say, accumulated resentment, years of humiliation finally breaking him. Others say, ambition, a chance to seize power for himself. Some claim, he was manipulated by the imperial court or rival daimyo. The truth, we'll never know. What we do know is that Mitsuhide turns his army away from the western campaign, toward Kyoto, toward Honnō-ji temple, where Nobunaga is staying, with only 150 men. Looking back, the signs were there. Nobunaga had become careless, overconfident. After 31 years of warfare, 155 battles, only 3 defeats, he believed he was invincible. His bodyguard at Honnō-ji, 150 men, most of his army was deployed across Japan. Hideyoshi in the west, his son Nobutada in a nearby temple, Nobunaga himself, practically alone, in the capital, where anyone could reach him. But who would dare? He was the demon king, the man who burned temples, who massacred thousands. Who would be foolish enough to betray him? June 20th, evening, Nobunaga attends a tea ceremony, relaxed, confident. He has no idea that 13,000 soldiers are marching toward him, led by his own general. In 12 hours, everything will end. The fool who became a king, the king who became a demon, will face his final battle. Not against an enemy army, but against the one thing he never saw coming, betrayal. June 21st, 1582, dawn. Nobunaga wakes to sounds outside, shouting, movement. He assumes it's a street fight. Then he sees the smoke. The temple is surrounded. 13,000 warriors, closing in. Someone shouts the clan name, Akechi. Nobunaga understands instantly. Betrayal. Zihini oyobazu. It can't be helped. These were the last calm words of a man who'd lived by the sword for 31 years. When Nobunaga realizes it's Mitsuhide, he speaks 4 words. Zihini oyobazu. It can't be helped. Or, it was inevitable. Not anger, not fear, just acceptance. He grabs a bow, shoots arrows from the veranda. 150 men against 13,000. They fight, they die. The bowstring breaks. Nobunaga switches bows, keeps fighting. Then, no more bows. He picks up a spear. An enemy lance strikes his elbow. He's wounded. He retreats to an inner chamber, orders the ladies-in-waiting to escape, and enters the storehouse, alone. The temple is burning. Smoke fills the rooms. Flames engulf the walls. Inside the storehouse, Nobunaga commits seppuku, ritual suicide, the samurai's final act of honor. The building collapses around him, and when Mitsuhide's soldiers finally enter, they find nothing, no body. The flames consumed everything. Oda Nobunaga disappears, like smoke. To this day, Nobunaga's body has never been found. Some say he intended this. If Mitsuhide captured his body, his head would be displayed, paraded as a criminal. By disappearing, he denied Mitsuhide even that. The mystery created uncertainty. Without proof of death, rumors spread. Is he really dead, or is this another trick? Hideyoshi exploited this, sent false letters claiming Nobunaga lived, sowing confusion, buying time. Nobunaga's eldest son, Oda Nobunaga, at Nijo Palace, 1 kilometer away. He hears the fighting, tries to fight his way to his father, but Mitsuhide's forces surround him too. He holds out for hours. Then, he also commits seppuku, father and son, dead within hours of each other. The entire line, seemingly destroyed. Mitsuhide believes he's won. Japan is his. He's wrong. June 21st, 1582. Dawn. Nobunaga wakes to sounds outside. Shouting. Movement. He assumes it's a street fight. Then he sees the smoke. The temple is surrounded. 13,000 warriors. Closing in. Someone shouts the clan name. Akechi. Nobunaga understands instantly. Betrayal. Zehi ni oyobazu. It can't be helped. These were the last calm words of a man who'd lived by the sword for 31 years. When Nobunaga realizes it's Mitsuhide, he speaks 4 words. Zehi ni oyobazu. It can't be helped. Or, it was inevitable. Not anger, not fear, just acceptance. He grabs a bow, shoots arrows from the veranda. 150 men, against 13,000. They fight. They die. The bowstring breaks. Nobunaga switches bows, keeps fighting. Then, no more bows. He picks up a spear. An enemy lance strikes his elbow. He's wounded. He retreats to an inner chamber, orders the ladies-in-waiting to escape, and enters the storehouse. Alone, the temple is burning. Smoke fills the rooms. Flames engulf the walls. Inside the storehouse, Nobunaga commits seppuku, ritual suicide, the samurai's final act of honor. The building collapses around him, and when Mitsuhide's soldiers finally enter, they find nothing, no body. The flames consumed everything. Oda Nobunaga disappears, like smoke. To this day, Nobunaga's body has never been found. Some say he intended this. If Mitsuhide captured his body, his head would be displayed, paraded as a criminal. By disappearing, he denied Mitsuhide even that. The mystery created uncertainty. Without proof of death, rumors spread. Is he really dead? Or is this another trick? Hideyoshi exploited this, sent false letters claiming Nobunaga lived, sowing confusion, buying time. Nobunaga's eldest son, Oda Nobunaga, at Nijo Palace, 1 kilometer away. He hears the fighting, tries to fight his way to his father, but Mitsuhide's forces surround him too. He holds out for hours. Then, he also commits seppuku, father and son, dead within hours of each other. The entire line, seemingly destroyed. Mitsuhide believes he's won. Japan is his. He's wrong. So what does Nobunaga's story teach us? Here's what I think. First, reputation is a tool. Nobunaga let them call him a fool, because fools aren't feared, they're dismissed, underestimated. And that is power. In a world where everyone watched each other, no one watched the fool, until it was too late. Second, tradition is not sacred. Every great leap forward requires breaking something old. The samurai code said firearms were dishonorable. Nobunaga didn't care. He bought 500 at age 15. While others clung to swords and honor, he built the future. Sometimes, progress requires heresy. Third, power has a cost. Nobunaga achieved the impossible. 1 province to 30 in 31 years. But what did he lose? His brother, assassinated by his order. His humanity, lost in the flames of Mount Hiei. His trust, betrayed by his own general. He called himself a demon, and perhaps that's what he became. Because power doesn't just change circumstances, it changes you. The fool who became a king died alone, betrayed, 2 days before his 48th birthday. But his dream lived on through the men he inspired. And finally, the ultimate irony. Nobunaga died at his peak, 2 days from his birthday, months from unifying Japan, betrayed by someone he trusted. But here's the thing. If he'd lived, would Hideyoshi have risen? Would the unification have lasted? Sometimes, the greatest legacy isn't finishing the work. It's inspiring others to complete it. Remember where we started. Honnō-ji temple, burning, a man surrounded, alone, facing death. Now we understand who that man was. Not just the demon king, not just the fool of Owari, but someone who understood that to change the world, you must be willing to become what others fear, to sacrifice everything, even yourself. Oda Nobunaga died in flames, his body never found, but his legacy burned brighter than any fire, and lit the way for Japan's future. The fool who became a king, the king who became a demon, the demon who changed history forever. That was Oda Nobunaga.